All right. So, it was the wood of the cross that saved mankind when Christ died upon it. God has made it clear by the mouth of Moses that He is everywhere and in everything, and that everything supports itself by Him. He is the master of everything. He fills everything. He is above the seven heavens and everything. He is beneath the deepest deep and the thickest darkness, and balances all creation. Christ was the beginning, and that all things were made in Him and by Him. He is the maker and creator, the light of light, the God of God, the refuge, the feeder, and the director. The ark, or tabernacle, symbolizes the horns of the altar and the tomb of Christ. The offering on the altar symbolizes and is the body of Christ. Um, Noah was saved by wood. Abraham held converse with God in the wood of Mangar. The thicket that caught the ram saved Isaac, and the rods of wood that Jacob laid in running water saved him. The wood of the ark made by Moses was a means of salvation, even as was the wood of the cross. Okay. Um, so it goes on to talk about Abraham visited Melchizedek, who gave him the mystery of wine and bread, and which is also celebrated in our Passover. Um, Christ's triumphal entry into Jerusalem is given, and Christ is identified with the unicorn.
All right, so what does the unicorn and its significance as the Passion of Christ and as a Catholic symbol and as a Christian symbol in relation to the Bible, what does it mean to you? And what does the cross mean to you?
The cross, okay, first of all, um, I want to talk about the cross being wooden, okay, because I just gave reference to the significance of wood, right? And the cross, the wooden cross means salvation, right? And it was because of Christ's death upon the cross, mankind was saved through that. So many people think, it's a silver cross or it's a bronze, but the power comes from the wood. Because like I just read, it says that He is in everything. God is in His creation, right? In everything that He made, He's a part of it. He's omnipotent. I can't say the word. Omnipresent.
Yes.
Right? So, what are your thoughts on the cross?
Well, basically, the cross and the fish are ancient symbols, like the Ankh. The Ankh goes back to about 3000 BCE, and the significance of this symbol was also like the symbol of life and the fish put together. So once you separate the fish from the Ankh, you have the cross and the fish. And the fish was used to mark tombs, and the fish was also Imhotep, and he was a physician for the Pharaoh's family. So as time went on and the Greeks and the Romans came into Egypt, as well as the Turks and the Arabs and the Persians and Assyrians and Babylonians, they started to intermingle. And you had people like the Hashishans becoming the assassins, and the Persians, who became the Magi, also coming together. Also the Knights Templar. So you had the beginnings of a kind of global secret society structure where they share their kind of agenda and secrets for controlling society using man's inherent connection to God. So the unicorn is a symbol of Christ and the symbol of the roots of Christ and the connection between the spirit and the female aspect. So it goes back to the moon. Just like you have goddess in India, I believe was named Kali, and she symbolizes a fish. Also, you have the ancient Dagon from Babylon, and that's where the Pope and his mitre. A lot of conspiracy theorists draw that connection that the Pope is wearing a fish head, And Jesus is the great fisherman who feeds the
Right.
people with 2 fish, and in some versions of the Bible, honeycomb as well. And then it goes back to the land of milk and honey. See, everything is connected, and is connected to the religion before it. So to say that the Ankh and the cross and the unicorn aren't pagan symbols before they're Christian symbols, I believe, is blasphemy more than to say that they are. Because the number one thing that I think the opposition view would bring up is that this is blasphemy. How can you say that paganism is Christ, but everything he did? I'm also going to show this sword I have, and it shows on it a cross and also different things, different symbols. Okay, symbols of food, symbols of 2 knights sharing a horse. And also the Knights of Malta use this exact cross when they use it in red, and it's enclosed in a circle. Okay, so I believe that wood is also a symbol of humility. It comes from the earth, it's natural, it's everywhere, it's common. And Jesus, he rolled with the poor people, who were also called commoners, peasants, etc. And he wanted to enlighten everyone, as opposed to groups of people who wish to usurp man. One thing that the unicorn symbolizes to me very strongly is a symbol of women gaining power by following the natural order of God and tapping into that natural energy through peace and, living in a lush pasture and garden. It goes back to the garden. You find a unicorn in the garden, a peaceful area. And where did women go wrong where the unicorn didn't? Is to defy the laws of God. And so women brought sin into the world, but the unicorn kept pure. So it goes back to it being in touch with the feminine side of nature and God, and following the rules of God and rising up the right way. I know I talked a lot, so we have about 3 minutes left. So, want to discuss any more about Egypt or the cross or anything else you'd like to add?
Um, it's interesting to me that such a important event happened as far as Christ walking the earth, and even today, I wonder if people are curious to find out what happened to the cross. Where is the cross of Christ? Being that it was a real event, where did the cross of Christ go? I wonder if people even think about that. Even as Christian people that say they follow Christ, or are, a member of some church that are dedicated to the worshiping of Jesus Christos or Jesus Christ, do they even ask these questions? Do they even care?
I believe it would have to be preserved because, wood has a natural decaying rate as well. And so the cross of Christ has to preserve the sign as well. But I do believe that somewhere there's traces of it. I don't think that anybody stored the actual cross intact, but that's just from what I would, venture to say.
Sense. Because remember, we were talking earlier about the story of Queen Candace, or the Queen of Sheba, when she was going to visit Solomon. And I was telling you about the elder showing me one of her foot was like a hoof or something like that. And when she was crossing the Jordan, part of that wood touched her foot in the water, and it made her foot whole again. I don't know if that's a fable or if it's real, but then again, that being the cross of Christ and knowing who Christ is and was, why wouldn't that be possible, Considering that it says that he's in everything, he's in the creation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That could be possible. That it's real.
It's definitely significant, and there becomes a line that it becomes finer and finer over time as history is lost in time and space, and that's that line between something of sentimental worth and value and something of spiritual worth and significance.